Okay. A science fiction publication has stopped accepting story submissions from the public because too many of them are AI generated. Oh boy, let's chat about the wild world of sci-fi publishing that's been flipped on its head recently. So, there's this famous online fantasy and science fiction magazine called Clarkesworld, which accepts story submissions from members of the public. If you're into sci-fi and fantasy, you've probably heard of it. It's a big deal in those circles. But guess what? They've had to slam the brakes on accepting new stories. And the reason? A sudden tsunami of stories written not by humans, but by AI. The online magazine has temporarily closed its doors to new submissions after being inundated with a large number of AI-generated stories. I caught wind of this whole drama from NPR, and it's like something straight out of a sci-fi novel. Neil Clark, the big boss over at Clarkesworld, has been swamped. Picture this, it's February 20th, and he's wading through about 700 stories that folks have poured their hearts and souls into. But wait, there's more. Another 500 stories have piled up, and these were spat out by machines. Can you imagine? It's like opening your inbox to find it flooded, but half the mail is from robots pretending to be Shakespeare. NPR reports that Clarkesworld magazine has been forced to halt all new submissions from writers due to a surge in what appears to be AI-generated content. Neil Clark, the magazine's publisher and editor-in-chief, revealed that as of February 20th, he had received a staggering 700 legitimate submissions and 500 machine-written ones. The influx of AI-generated stories had been increasing at an alarming rate, with Clark expressing concern that by the end of the month, the magazine would have received double the number of submissions they normally receive. The situation had become so dire that the magazine felt compelled to take action to curb the flood of low-quality machine-generated content. Neil Clark was watching this whole situation spiral, predicting that by the end of the month, they'd be drowning in double their usual submissions. And not just any submissions, but a lot of them were AI-generated. Talk about a headache. So, they had no choice but to hit the pause button and figure out how to stop the flood of robot-written stories. While the magazine has chosen not to disclose the method they use to identify AI-generated stories to prevent individuals from gaming the system, Clark noted that the quality of the writing in these submissions was exceptionally poor. So, they're keeping mum about how they suss out which stories are penned by AI. They're not giving away their secrets, so sneaky folks can't get around their defenses. But Clark mentioned that most of these AI submissions were pretty easy to spot because, frankly, they were terrible. According to Clark, magazines like Clarkesworld, which compensate contributors for their work, have become targets for individuals seeking to make quick money. He revealed that he had discussed the issue with editors of other magazines who were facing similar challenges. What's really happening behind the scenes is that Clarkesworld, which is one of those cool magazines that actually pays writers for their stories, has become a target for people looking to make a quick buck. And it's not just them. Other magazines are dealing with this robot invasion too. Clark's been chatting with other editors, and everyone's scratching their heads, trying to figure out how to deal with this. The magazine's not throwing in the towel though. They're out there, rallying the troops, asking for ideas on how to tackle this robot invasion. And you've got to appreciate the irony here. A magazine that's all about the wonders and warnings of the future is now living its own cautionary tale. Clarkesworld's got a point. Science fiction has always been about dreaming big, but also remembering to tread carefully with our tech toys, while considering all those tricky moral and legal puzzles. So, there you have it. The world of science fiction writing is facing a bit of a crisis, but something tells me this developing plot is going to lead to an epic storyline. Let's just hope it's one with a happy ending where humans and AI find a way to coexist, in the writing world at least. AI is here to stay. There's no getting around it. There's no one inventing it. It's going nowhere. Jobs will be lost. Careers will be forever transformed, if not done away with entirely. AI art is potentially replacing artists. Journalists are feeling the pressure. The music industry has cause for concern given the recent advancements in music writing technology. And they're figuring out how to make movies now. AI technology is changing the whole world. And like we've had to do in the past, we're gonna have to adapt. There's no getting around this, folks. AI is here to stay, like it or not.